dynamic conference full of speakers who are experts in their field and are well worth hearing. Very, very good. Yes, I've sat in a few and I've enjoyed them. They've been very good. Thank you. But I haven't had that much chance. I've had, between my own panels and talks and all the things, I haven't been in too many, but I've been in quite a few sessions all the same. If you can't come, watch it online, but it's always good to make an effort to come, because you meet people, you discuss things, you can get to talk to the speakers, people who would never get to speak to normally. You can go up, ask them questions, take photos with them, just enjoy being with them and the interaction. It's nothing like being there in person. We are real teaching. We really do it. We don't just talk about doing it. We focus on the child and the way children need to learn. And we teach, well, what we are many different things. We're an educational group. It's a Хэллен educational group. We work in 37 countries. We've got 1,000 centres. We mainly teach English. That's what we started with. But we start with 3-month-old babies and go up to the age of 19. But we also have our own special kindergartens with special methodologies. And we also have a maths franchise going from 2 years up to the age of 19. But what people know in Russia is Хэллен English, and it's based on the way children learn their mother tongue. I mean, how does a child learn his mother tongue? He hears, he hears, he hears. He analyzes. One day he opens his mouth and he goes, "Mummy," and Mummy goes, "Yeah!" And the baby looks and says, "Well, that was a nice reaction. I must have done something good. I'll do it again." So he got positive reinforcement. He had repeated background hearing, and then he spoke. We do the same in our methodology. We get our children to really know the language. Yes, we teach reading and writing later on, but they speak it like a mother tongue by the courses that are specially devised with audio tracks, with songs and stories, or the soundtracks of the animations that we teach from age 2 to 8 with. And they hear it in the background while playing, eating, going to sleep. And when they come to the lesson once or twice a week, they know it. But they don't know the meaning. And the teachers who undergo special training, we have very good teacher training, know how to give positive reinforcement. They have probably about 20 different activities with many different props and downloaded things to do, to take them through all the steps of understanding. The children don't know they're learning, they're acquiring, they're playing, they're doing, they're speaking, they're interacting, they know whole sentences, and they're like mother tongue speakers of English. And it's because the curriculum is so cleverly devised, so closely devised. So it's the curriculum, it's the methodology, it's the teacher training, it's everything together creates the ability for a parent to put his child in very confidently at any age and know that he can go on year after year with well-devised curricula and good teachers. Because I've been listening here to various people who are doing wonderful things in education, in early education. They don't have methodology, especially not for English. They don't have English methodology, and the English teaching is by the by, so the results aren't going to be the same. You have to have a very closely knit methodology together with content in order for it to be magic. We don't need it, but it's useful. Firstly, at a very early age, up to the age of 7 and including 7, the brain's still growing. The neural pathways are still being created. And when you learn a second or a third or a fourth language at that age, the neural pathways explode with usage, because nothing is more complicated than another language. Language is the most complicated thing a child or anybody can learn, but it's not difficult for children because their brains created for it. Complicated but not difficult. So if the input is frequent, if the duration and the intensity is correct, if the curriculum's correct, they will learn it easily and they will have far more brain power, but they'll also know another language. And with this other language, there's better work opportunity, cognitive flexibility is greater, greater executive functions. That means they can get what they want in life because they can plan it, and they've got self-restraint as well to get to where they need to go, self-control. They understand other people, they're more tolerant because they understand other people's. They have many different concepts. They know double the amount of language. Instead of learning one, they learn two. Or maybe it was three. I have grandchildren who speak 3 languages. Yeah. So, yeah, why do we need it? We can live without it. Most people in England and most people in Russia live with 1 language. But the world, you open up to different worlds, you increase the brain power at any age, but especially at the young age. Quality is our most important thing. We have teacher trainers, first of all, who train our teachers in each country. We're a franchise system, so it means the local franchisee is responsible for the business, making sure the business is in place so that the pedagogy can work okay, and they are committed to pedagogic levels and having people for quality assurance, and teachers are committed to ongoing training, going to seminars every year, annual conference for the teachers every year in their area. It's a very well-oiled machine for making sure our quality, and our teacher trainers are not under our franchisees, they're under me directly. So that they know that if there's a teacher doesn't need to pass, there'll be no pressure from anybody. If that teacher's not of good quality, they will not get through the basic training. That's the important thing. And so that's how it works. Does it work perfectly? Nothing works perfectly, but it works pretty well. Well, first of all, if they have materials that the kids can hear at home, and I'll tell the parents to put it on for background hearing, then if it's what they're going to be learning, then when they come to the lesson, it'll be in their heads and they won't have to repeat it again and again. They'll only have to teach the meaning level. That's the first thing. Second thing is, teachers should have fun. If the teacher has fun, the children will have fun. The lessons should be planned so that you have fun. Of course, I'm not talking about the reading and the writing part, but if you have reading and writing, make games out of that as well too. Don't always have it in 2 dimensions in the book. Put words on the wall, have running games, have different things that are big that the class can participate in, which will put the words and the vocabulary and the grammar, if you do a grammar game, into long-term memory, because they've combined movement, to be multi-sensory movement, touch, sight, hearing, everything together means that they will learn a lot more efficiently. So don't just stand there and have the kids in the book and just sing a song here and there. Get them moving. Even with the older kids, do some grammar games, which means they're moving around the classroom or playing together. Something which, although it looks like it's a waste of time because it's playing, it isn't a waste of time because A, they're going to learn the language, and B, it'll go directly into their memories. Older kids, well, I say, 11, 12, they're still quite young. It depends, we have a 12-year-old who I personally know in Poland. She's been learning since she was a baby, and she got us FCE a few weeks ago. Her first first certificate of entry or something. It's a Cambridge. I don't know what FCE actually stands for, but it's actually a very good benchmark for Cambridge exams. And she got it at the age of 12, and you normally get it at the age of 16, 18, because she's been with us for so many years. So what about the older kids? Well, it's hard for them if they're 16, 17, 18. Well, even the younger kids, you're right, read for pleasure. If you can read in English, find things you like reading, even if it's comics, and read in English. Read as much as you can. Listen as much as you can, but listen to the same thing again and again. Like the songs that they like in English. Do the same with, if you can get an audio book that plays in the background while you're doing other things, do that with something you like. But reading for pleasure will improve your spelling and your reading ability and your enjoyment of it. I remember my own son at the age of 15, he was a native speaker of English, I couldn't get him to read. And then I brought him he'd only read the sports magazines. And then I brought him Harry Potter. And he became an avid reader, and he hasn't stopped reading since. Now he doesn't, today he's a doctor of physics, but in those days he just wouldn't stop reading. And before that, he wouldn't read. So it's the right book to get you going. Very, very important. And for teachers, it's interesting to know that if you put these games with wrong spellings, it sticks in their brain with the wrong spelling. Don't do it. Only ever play with right spellings. So reading for pleasure is very important, and it will really help the kids. I'm learning methodologies for working in schools because we have kindergartens, and those who qualify from our kindergartens they're called Хэллен Дорон International, Хэллен Дорон Kindergarten. The parents are looking for the same type of education for them, and they've begged us to go on with schools. So I'm looking into school systems and ways of working with children. We've got our maths, we've got our English, but we've got our positive reinforcement, but we want to do a lot more than that. So I'm busy planning school systems. Dynamic, friendly, informative.